In a few videos I've mentioned the Pascal programming language, and I worked with it for a long time in the late 1980s and early 1990s professionally. It's been quite a while since I looked at it, probably going back to fairly early versions of Delphi in the early 2000s. In this video I'm going to try and fix this. There are a few ways I could look at Pascal. I could try to get an old version of Turbo Pascal running, maybe in DOSBox. Or I could download the free version of Embarcadero's community version of Delphi and get this running. Maybe I'll look at this in a future video. But for this video I'm going to look at Free Pascal, a current product, and see if I can get it running, and maybe try and get a Pascal game or two running in it. Because I was working professionally with Turbo Pascal, I didn't write or play any games written with it. We weren't allowed to play games at work, and Borland's prices would be under a fledgling software developer's budget. Also, I would have needed to buy a PC as my Atari ST wouldn't run it. There was Personal Pascal for the ST and a couple of other versions, but I didn't get going with any of those. So on to Free Pascal, and let's see if I can get a retro game running in it. So onto the Free Pascal website. This is an open source piece of software, and I need the Windows version. So I go to SourceForge, and then download the latest version for Windows, which is the green button at the top. So that starts downloading, and once I've downloaded it, I'll install it, and this doesn't take too long. Currently on version 3.2.2. I'll just skip a bit here. And then a bit of information, so I'm okay with all of that. And click the next button and finish. So it shows me a README file, which you might look through later on. But it's saying that Free Pascal is compatible with Turbo Pascal 7, which was a version that I worked with back so long ago. And then you've got a user guide, quite lengthy to look through. So it's telling me that Free Pascal is 32-bit or 64-bit. And a lot more information, a bit of information about how to install it. So a quick look through that. Then a page on how to test the compiler, so you can check that it's working. I think that's enough of that for now. So if I run up Free Pascal, get a user interface which is reminiscent of Turbo Pascal from back in the day, and it's looking for INC files or PAS files. So I wrote a game Fungaloids back in the early 2000s. I'm going to try and get that running. So it's loaded my code in OK, so I can have a look through it. Doing a bit of colour coding. I'll try and compile that. And it's saying fatal compilation aborted. So this game was written in Delphi rather than Turbo Pascal. So the code is Object Pascal. So I don't think I'm going to be able to run this straight off just using Free Pascal. So if I go onto Copilot and ask, how do you open a Delphi project in Free Pascal? So first of all it tells me I need to install Free Pascal and Lazarus. So Lazarus is the IDE that I need to get Delphi programs running. So if I go to Lazarus and then download the IDE. So this is a 200 megabyte file. I just skip through, install it, and put it on the D drive out of the way. It's going to take up a gig of space, and then ready to install. So this takes a little while, so I'll skip through this as well. And then it's completed, so I'll finish. My setup language is English. I'm now getting a welcome message for Lazarus. And then it runs up, and you can see that it looks quite like Delphi. You've got a form with a similar sort of layout. And now if I search through it, it's allowing me to open an LPI file, which is the project file. So it's pulled that in, and I can see all my code. And on the form I can see the various objects that I used. I'll just take that breakpoint out and then try and compile it. So it's compiling, and it says success with 15 hints. So that's a good sign. So I'll try and build it, and that's succeeded as well with the same hints. So now I'll try and run it without debugging. And it's saying file does not exist, and then I'm getting AVG popping up. It doesn't like the fungaloids.exe, but that's a false positive for the AVG, so I can ignore that. I suspect the file does not exist is due to the paths being wrong on some of my resources. So if I go through and just put in the absolute path, I'm hoping I should be able to get it running then. So I'll try it without one. I'm still getting another file that does not exist, but the page is loaded, so I've got a little bit further. AVG is still bothering me. I might turn it off. So if I look down the code and just look for any more opening of files, resource files, and copying the same path. So there's a few of those. So I'll do the same thing for each of those. And I'll just take these breakpoints out and try running it again. So it's run up the program. I've got the instruction screens, and it's gone into the game. And it appears to be running okay. I'm getting the fungaloids are firing things up at me. I can move my ship around and drop bombs on the fungaloids. So this was a ZX81 program written by Michael Owen originally, and I wrote this version for a retro gaming competition. So if I wanted to get it working, I'd probably make the display larger to fill the screen on a modern PC. And now I am dying. The PC that I wrote it on, obviously, back in 2000 was a long time ago and low resolution. And I'm now running it on a much more recent PC with higher resolution. But it all seems to be working quite well. So Free Pascal seems pretty good for running a Delphi Turbo Pascal program. So I hope that was interesting, and thanks for watching.